everyone, it's Natasha and I'm here in the North Grove kitchen, and today I'm going to introduce you to a new recipe for food and families called Up Casserole. In my house, breakfast for supper is very popular. We love eggs and we love everything about breakfast food, so this takes all the things that we really enjoy, puts them together to make a really yummy meal that you could have for breakfast or for supper. So we're going to start with the things you're going to need to prep this meal at home. You're going to need a 9 by 13 pan, a small bowl for some compost, and a larger bowl to mix. You're going to need a small cutting board and a sharp knife, a whisk for your eggs, or you could even use a fork if you don't have a whisk, and a ½ teaspoon measuring. You're going to need a grater for your cheese, some cooking spray or butter to grease your pan. I have a big 4-cup measuring cup here for the cheese and a 1-cup measuring cup for the milk. If all you have is a 1 cup, that's perfectly fine. You can just reuse that. And that's everything you need to get started, and we'll move on to our ingredients. So for ingredients to make our Up Casserole, you're going to need hash browns. So for today, we're just using these small hash browns. I've also made it at home with hash brown patties. So those you're going to need, and you're going to leave those frozen. You're going to need 7 eggs, 4 cups of grated cheese. You can use any kind of cheese that you want. Today, we're going to use cheddar. We have 1 cup of milk, ½ teaspoon of salt. Sometimes I use ham, so there's a little bit of ham here. You can actually use any kind of meat that you wanted or no meat at all. And the one thing I really like about this recipe is it's a good recipe to use to kind of clean your fridge. So any vegetables you have that are in your fridge, it doesn't matter the amount, how much or how little, you can use whatever you like. So for today, we're going to use a green pepper. And I always love to top mine off with a little bit of green onion. Okay, so we're gonna start by spraying our 9 by 13 pan, and I am gonna use cooking spray for this. Just gonna give it a good spray. And you could use some oil or some butter if you don't have spray at home. We're gonna open up our hash browns and pour them on the bottom. The hash browns kind of soak up some of the egg and rise in the casserole. So I'm not gonna use the whole bag. What I do at home is I use the leftover hash browns, if I'm using these little tiny ones, and we'll make some of this casserole in muffin tins, which are super good for kids. You can freeze them too, so my children will take one out of the freezer and pop it in the microwave for a really quick breakfast. So we're going to just use about that much hash browns and line our pan. And then we're going to take our 4 cups of grated cheese. So this is a great task when you're making this at home with your children. They love to grate cheese. If you were using ham or any kind of meats, you would add it now too before you add your eggs. There we go. So there's our 4 cups of cheese. And I'm going to just dice a little bit of green pepper to go into mine now. It's good because the green pepper will stay inside the mixture. So if you have children who maybe say they don't like something just based on the look of it, they may not see the green pepper. You could also use some mushrooms. Any color pepper would work. I've put broccoli in mine, cut really small. Lots of children like their broccoli trees, so you could put broccoli in it. Spinach. Pretty much anything. So like I said, this is a great kind of clean your fridge recipe. So whatever you've got in there, doesn't have to be equal parts of any kind of veggie or meat. You can just throw it in and make good use of it. And then just the same as the cheese, we're gonna sprinkle it on. Anybody who has come to Food and Families with us knows that the children love to help out, and they love to cut. We've used plastic utensils for food and families when we've been together and able to do it that way, so nobody gets cut or gets hurt. Even just a simple butter knife will work. It doesn't matter what the green pepper looks like. There we go. So one of your small bowls you're going to use for compost. So I've got quite a mess going on here, so I'm going to pop that in my compost. I'm going to add these last 2 pieces of green pepper that I have here. You can also leave out the veggies. You don't need to add them. If you're not a veggie person, that's okay too. Okay, so now that we have our hash browns, our cheese, and whatever veggies or meat you desire to put into your casserole, we are going to crack some eggs. So this is everybody's favorite part. So we're gonna need 7 eggs. So doing this at home with your children, you could talk about eggs. Where do eggs come from? How many eggs are in this carton? How many eggs are we using? You can talk about the sound, the feel. Lots of learning happens during cooking and baking. So we're going to add our 1 cup of milk. And half a teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to give that a whisk. So we're going to get it and make sure all of our egg yolks and egg whites are all mixed in there with our milk. This is also a great task to do at home with your children while they're helping you prepare this food and family's meal. So once you're sure it's all good and mixed well, you're going to pour it in on top of your hash brown and cheese mixture. And don't be afraid once you have it all poured in there that you can't actually see the egg, that all you can see is cheese. When you start to bake this, we know that the egg will start to really expand, so it will fill up your bowl. So I'm not gonna add my green onion yet. I'm gonna wait, and I'm going to wait until we get a little closer to the end of baking, and then we'll add that. I'm going to cover it now and put it in the oven. And I've already preheated the oven to 350. Sometimes you may have to bump it up to 375 at home, depending on how your oven heats. Okay, so now we're gonna go put this in the oven. And this will take anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour and 15 minutes. So here we go. It's been just over an hour. Our casserole is all cooked. You can see I have some green onion on top. And here I have some of the little small egg casseroles from the muffin tins, which are perfect bite size for children. So I hope you really enjoy this recipe. I hope you give it a try at home. I'd love to hear the things that you find in your fridge to pop it in. And if you have suggestions for future food and families, we'd love to hear them. Thanks so much for joining me today.